Hey Dad, here's your video finally. Sorry it's late. So the title of this video is What is my dad's blood type? I'm in blood bank class. Well, I just passed my blood banking class. And I may or may not have taken some samples in from people that I know to see what their blood type is just for fun. So basically, this video won't be interesting to people who are not nerds like my dad and I and my fellow MLTs, future MLTs. Okay, so let's get to it. See my perfectly round blood cells? So basically, if you are an A type, basically what it is we're naming the antigens. You have A antigens on the surface of your cells. And B, people who are B type, they, you guessed it, have B antigens on the surface of their red blood cells. And then of course we have more than A and B type people. We also have AB people. They have both A and B antigens on the surface of their cells. And then of course we have the O's. These people have no A or B antigens on their cells. Now, why do we care about this? Well, the ABOs, there are other systems of antigens and antibodies. They're way more complicated. These are the most immunogenic, meaning if you get incompatible blood or plasma, if you need a transfusion, these ABO or AB antigens and antibodies have the strongest reaction, and they can make a person really sick and they can make a person die. So we don't want to give incompatible blood or plasma to a patient. Speaking of plasma or serum, you may have heard of serum. They're not the same thing, but they do have the same antibodies in them. That doesn't change anything. So these A people, they have A antigens, so they have B antibodies in their serum or plasma. We'll just say plasma, just for simplicity. These are naturally occurring antibodies. These B people, they have A antibodies in their plasma. And notice that these A people, they have the antigen, so they don't have the antibody, obviously. That would be bad news. These AB people, they have neither antibodies, so no A or B antibodies in their plasma. And then these O people, they have neither one of these, so they have both A and B antibodies in their plasma. It's pretty easy, really. So yeah, there it is. Pause the video, maybe if you want. See if any of this other stuff makes sense to you. Yeah, so next we will see another chart. So how do we grade these in the laboratory? How do we test for this? Okay, so here's our chart. Basically what we do is we take our tubes, and in these tubes we put reagents in, these A antibodies or B antibodies in the tubes. And we know what these reagents have them. They have B antibodies, and these reagents, they have A antibodies. What we don't know is what our patient is. So we would put our patient cells in here, in with our reagents, right? Because we're trying to test, see what they are. And what we're looking for is agglutination. After we spin it and we take our tubes out, either there is no agglutination or there is agglutination. Basically what agglutination is they are blood cells that are hooked on to these antibodies. So they can like hook together and they make big old chunks or small chunks, depending on, the reaction that we get. This is agglutination. So we would put these tubes into our centrifuge and we spin them 15 seconds. And if they come out and say our patient cell go into our A antibody, anti-Sorta is what we call it, and it came out and it did have agglutination in it. So there's agglutination. That's not how we write it, but this indicates a positive reaction. And then that means that our patient cell reacted with these antibodies. So we know that there's a reaction there, and then we test our next tube that has the B antibodies, or B anti-Sorta in here. We put our cells in here from our patient, and we get another positive reaction. Well, what does that mean? That means that our patient cells reacted with these antibodies. They have the B antigens, and these B antibodies went to town, formed agglutination, and this would be your AB type. AB type. And then we do backwards or reverse back typing just to make sure, and also we can kind of get the indication if there's going to be any additional antibodies or other things in our plasma. So it's the same thing. We put in our A cells. This is our reagent. We know that these are A cells, and we know that these are B cells. And so we put in our patient plasma, and whatever antigens are in there, or I'm sorry, we don't have antigens in our plasma. We have antibodies in our plasma. So we put these in, we spin them, and there's no reaction. That's because our A cells, reagents, did not have a reaction. There's no antigens, A antigens to react to. And then same thing here, if we got a negative result, boom, there's no discrepancies here, so we know everything's okay. This would be an AB type person. And then I'll show you a little chart that I made. So if you put, you know, different cells in here or whatever, you would get these reactions. So if I put our patient cells into this anti-A, got a positive in our A's and a negative in our B's, we'd have a group A. And then it would match. So we would match that. I don't know if I explained it in a way that can be understood, but maybe pause the video or whatever, and then maybe you could have a better understanding. So what we're looking for in our tubes, basically what we're looking for is when we put our tubes in to the centrifuge, we spin them, we take them out, and then they stick to the bottom of our tube. The cells do. We give them a shake, which is what you'll see in the video that will follow. And basically, if it comes off in one chunk, that's a 4+. If it comes off in a few chunks, like in 2 to 4, 3, then that would be a 3+. Lots. These three reactions, they all have clear background, and then you start to get to these weak reactors where you get even smaller clumps and it starts to get a little cloudy. And then of course you have your negative, which is, we usually look at it underneath the microscope because they can be microscopically positive. You could have a mixed field, maybe some rouleau, which would mean you have other problems. And then you could also have hemolysis. Of course, when the cell blows up, it looks like a negative. You just kind of got to know what you're doing in the laboratory. And here's our beautiful agglutination. So yeah, that's it. Following is going to be the video that I made in class, and you know, a couple of pictures or whatever. So I hope you enjoyed my video, Dad. Sorry that it was late. So yeah, bye. Spinning. Turn off my alarm. Put the brake on. Okay, here's all my specimen tubes. Ready to go. Dad. Slight hemolysis. Kaylee's is perfect. Christian's perfect. And Caleb. So out of focus. There we go.
Oh, God, I hate this timer.
Kaylee, how you feeling? Got a really thick, buffy coat. Doing your top line. Alright. Oh, look at that. That's a 4+. Looks like my dad's an A.
You don't know.
So far. Should be an AB. Oh, he's an A.
What are you?
I'm an A, positive. Hopefully there's no discrepancies.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
Okay.
Okay, how's your dad? Your first dad one?
Okay. Let's do... Okay, A, that's his AC. Okay. But B cells. Oh, yep. There's a 3.
Those are B cells.
3+ on the B. A cells. Yep. Yep. Here's an A.
He's an A.
Yep. That's
No
negative.
discrepancy.
Nope. Let's see what his RH
Or
is.
H's.
Screening cells, auto control. Okay, anti-D. I can already tell.
He's positive.
It's positive. Yep.
Are you negative? No. You're
Positive. Yep. So we're both A positive. That's probably a 3. Oh, here's our control. And it better be negative, which it is.
What's your kiddo get the negative from?
Huh?
You have a kid that's negative?
No.
No.
I don't know yet. Don't know yet.
Oh yeah, we don't know yet.
Nope.
Stop. I'm on this journey with you.
Yep. Auto control is negative. No auto antibodies either. UC is negative. Big control is negative. You are A+. Look, Dad, you got A+ on a test. Probably the first time ever.